Welcome, everybody, to Straight Shoot, a wrestling podcast. I have scrounged to the bottom of my barrel to get one of the biggest pro wrestling content creators on social media to come and help me do a Monday Night Raw in review. Mr. Professor Nick Harrison. How you doing, buddy?
Steve, I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Not too bad. So you're not here to give me pleasure. We're here to get over on Monday Night Raw, correct?
We're not here to do. It's not that type of party, ladies and gentlemen. We're just here to talk wrestling.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, we've tried to do the intro to this about 2 or 3 times, and we've been cracking up the entire time because I sound like an absolute idiot. It's been a long 3.5 hours of professional wrestling, a lot of emotion getting involved. I might not be in the best state of mind, but listen, we are going to review an episode of Monday Night Raw that, Nick, goddamn. This was, from start to finish, it was almost a roller coaster. What are your first initial thoughts?
A lot of fun from the beginning to end, top to bottom, T to B. A lot of stuff jam packed from the beginning to the end of the show, from comedic aspects to really good matches in wrestling to setting up matches for the Royal Rumble and possibly for beyond, and of course, the announcement of a big return at the Rumble that a lot of people knew was going to happen, but they basically said it out loud and didn't make it a surprise for the Royal Rumble. They went ahead and said it tonight on Monday Night Raw. So it was a really cool show from beginning to end.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. We'll get to the Cody thing in a second, but I'm really glad they decided to do it the way they did it. Because even in the chat and the conversation I was having while in the live, it was one of those ones where you're like, yeah, we know he's coming back. We don't need you to make this whole lights out, blackout. Oh, it's WrestleMania again, and Cody gets 5 minutes of pyro. We don't need that. We know Cody's coming back. We know what the injury is and how long it takes to recover. The man's coming back. We know. So thank you. We'll get to that, though. Let's start out with the first segment, though, Nick. Like, this was an interesting dynamic with the Bloodline, the Usos, and Solo Sikoa starting off, because normally it's the Bloodline hijacking the star of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And they build it differently this week, and I think it was needed because the whole taking over the show thing was getting a little old. Yeah. And also, noticeably, no Sami Zayn. Like, with this, what do you think about this? This was one of those ones where I personally think creative did the right thing in bringing them out the way they did. What do you think?
I think that this is a constant build of the Bloodline storyline and everything that's involved with it, and that includes Sami Zayn being missing tonight, because when they've invaded Monday Night Raw over the past couple of weeks, Sami has been front and center in all of it. Tonight, there was no Sami to be found, and we saw his reaction on SmackDown last week after they came in during his match with Kevin Owens and the interruption of that match and what happened and how he reacted to all of that. So it can all be tied in to what's going on with the Bloodline right now and how things are going to move with them moving forward. It's the most intriguing storyline in WWE right now, and for good reason, because they're playing it out really well.
Yeah, honestly, and what they did, they blended a lot in this opening. It was a 20-minute open, and I don't think we got a match until 25 minutes into Monday Night Raw, which I'm all for it. A lot of people are against long drawn entrances. Like, after 15 minutes and the promo, they're like, okay, when's the wrestling gonna start? And when you're at a live show, the commercial break is obviously gonna give you a 4-minute, like, squash match. But they integrated the Sami Zayn thing. They integrated Judgment Day. They integrated Mustafa Ali, all within a 25-minute segment of promos and face-offs that I could have watched for another 20 minutes. Like, yeah. I'm not going to lie, Nick. I'm all for a Solo Rhea intergender match.
I'll say this. The way that they've had Rhea Ripley interacting with the male wrestlers, having the match against Akira Tozawa, her interaction with Solo tonight, this whole first segment, when you have 3 hours of programming, you've got to fill it with something. And this was about as compelling as anything they could have put in the programming tonight at the beginning of the show, because the Bloodline is the thing in the WWE right now. They've got a match against Judgment Day for the Raw Tag Team Championships. It's already been set. So you got to play it up somehow, and then you add in the element of Prison Dom. Now this has just, I'm telling you, this has just drawn me in ever since Christmas, man. It's just fun to watch what's going on. You know, people get shivved in the jut. So it's great to see that Dom is alive and well on the outside. You know, to live and die in LA is the place to be for Dominic Mysterio. It's just I love every piece of it. So you add that in with the Bloodline. I'm glad that it intersected at some point, and I look forward to seeing what they're going to do with this dynamic between the Bloodline and the Judgment Day going forward and moving into Royal Rumble and beyond.
After Dom's long 24 hours in the clink, he came out with a fresh tattoo and a new outlook on life. But Nick, one more thing to this whole segment. Kevin Owens dispatching the entire Bloodline. If this is not booking Kevin Owens to be as over as possible and as strong as possible going into Royal Rumble and the contract signing this coming SmackDown in Detroit, I don't know what could be. Kevin Owens is so over, and we've talked about this. You and I, me and Santi, me and like many others have all talked about how Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn cannot do wrong because creatively they can put anything over. Just remember WrestleMania last year, Kevin Owens carried a feud with Steve Austin without Steve Austin being involved.
Yeah.
Now Kevin Owens is dispatching the entire Bloodline a week out from one of the largest premium live events WWE has. I don't know if it can get any better for Kevin Owens at this point.
I think over the past couple of months, they've really been booking Kevin Owens really well. Ever since WrestleMania, especially since Triple H took over creative, they've really booked him well and put him in prime opportunities and spots to show off his skills, not just on the mic, but in the ring. And they're making him look as strong as possible going into this match against Roman Reigns, because anybody you put into the ring with Roman Reigns, you have to make them look as though they can win the match. Yeah. You have to make them look as though they have an opportunity. They made Logan Paul look like he had a chance against Roman Reigns, and they put on one of the best matches of 2022 together. Hey, so you gotta give your guys an opportunity to look good against the champ. And Kevin Owens looks like a world beater right now, and he should, because he's going in there with one of the best championship reigns that they've had in the past 10, 15, 20 years.
Hey, you nailed it on the head with the Logan Paul. I was blessed enough to be at Clash of the Castle. I always bring up Clash of the Castle in every pod that I do. But they build Drew McIntyre as the savior of an entire continent, an entire 3-country community. And for that one split second at Clash of the Castle, you genuinely thought Roman was beat.
Thought it was over.
Everyone did. If you say you didn't, you are a liar. I will tell you that now, because your heart skipped 2 beats in those 1-2, and at that 3 you were like, no. But Kevin Owens is being billed the exact same way. You are the next one to slay the proverbial dragon that is the owner of the island of relevancy. And I still don't think it's going to happen. Anyways, moving on to Solo and Mustafa Ali. Listen, they are talking about great booking. Solo Sikoa. Man has not been beat or submitted or pinned in any close context call since coming up onto the main roster. Talk about great booking.
Yeah, street champion. I mean, We saw the potential in NXT. We saw what he would be able to do once he made it to the main roster, and he has absolutely done that, and then some. And on the flip side of it, the way that they're booking Mustafa Ali, and I have a feeling that there's a championship run with some title down the line for him, and they're just setting it up because once he actually wins that championship, the pop that he's going to get, I put him in the running as the winner of Money in the Bank, because he can still use that whole Kofi got my spot. Kofi got the opportunity. He got the run with Kofi Mania, and that should have been me instead. So he still got all of that in the back pocket for him. So for him to surprise everybody, because I know a lot of people are saying LA Knight, LA Knight, LA Knight, and I could see that too. But Mustafa Ali winning Money in the Bank would be a gigantic pop, and with the run that he's had over the past year and some of the matches that he's been put in, I wouldn't put it past him to at least make it look like he's going to be the guy that could win that briefcase.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great shout. I never thought of Mustafa as a Money in the Bank guy, but the way you just put that over, I'm all for it. But with this match, really, really good match. There was a pinfall on Solo in this match where I was like, really? They're actually going to give a close 2 count for Mustafa? No disrespect to Mustafa, but I was at that skip in a heartbeat like, there's no way. Yeah. And then we get Kevin Owens coming in as the Bloodline comes back out, reverting back to the starting segment. So we're now almost 40 minutes into Monday Night Raw, and the first 2 segments are virtually intermingled. And what a way to start it. Kevin Owens coming out again, dispatching the Bloodline, yeeting chairs left, right, and center. Like, I don't think I have ever seen WWE like backstage staff come out of the crowd before. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh yeah, they were coming out trying to. They were trying to break these guys up. Referees, officials. You saw Pete Williams out there. You saw Shane Helms out there. They were all trying to break these guys up, and that's the intensity that they're trying to build into Royal Rumble between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, and really the Bloodline as well, because they're going to be involved too. So all of this is building to that, and it's just cool to see, man, because I think they're building it really well, and it's going to be a fantastic matchup at Royal Rumble between these two.
Definitely, 100%. Okay, a weird one for me. Obviously, like on paper, the Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander, I'm going to call him the Hurt Business. We know the Hurt Business is coming back. All lines lead to the Hurt Business. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin versus the Street Profits. On paper, this is a really good match all the way around. There was some really good spots in this match, but why do I feel that was a very screwy finish?
Yeah, it kind of looked a little weird towards the end, but and that was in part because of the interference of MVP, which of course is leading to the whole Hurt Business thing. And we saw Omos get involved in the whole thing as well, getting mixed into it. We've seen Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander team together last week as well. So we're seeing them together a lot more, former Raw Tag Team Champions. So, it's no surprise because they've been a tag team before, and they looked good together tonight, and they had a pretty good match against the Street Profits. It was a little bit of a mixed up finish at the end of this one, but overall, I think it was a pretty decent match.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. 90% of the way through, it was a great match. And, come on, let's talk about Montez Ford for a second. I'm not taking anything away from Angelo Dawkins, okay? Because Dawkins himself is just an entity that down the road, when the Street Profits finally split, Dawkins is going to have a great IC or US title run. I don't see him in a main event, but he's going to be one of those guys that is going to be able to carry a really good long-standing feud. But I want to talk about my boy Montez, and everybody knows my vibe on Bianca, but listen, let's bring it back over to Montez, because I'll give Montez all the love in the world. Montez Ford in the last 6 months has gone from skinny, I haven't even eaten a cheeseburger in 20 years, to My God, the man looks like he's been training with John Cena for the last 6 months.
Montez Ford is a future WWE champion.
Absolutely.
He's at 100%. He's a future world champion, and I know that eventually. My hope is that they don't split the Street Profits up, but they give them each individual runs as singles guys. And we've seen, for all of the work that we talk about Montez Ford putting in and everything that he's done, shed a little light on Angelo Dawkins and what he has done as well, because over the past couple of months, we have seen the progress. We have seen the process. We've seen what's going on with him shape-wise, what he's able to do in the ring. He has improved in every single facet of what you can improve on in the ring, and you got to give some love to both of the Street Profits, because Montez and Angelo have both been put in the work to really up their games and do what they need to do in order to be successful in this business. So you got to give kudos to both of them. I understand what you're saying. Montez Ford, as I've said, is a future world champion, and you can't tell me any different. But Angelo Dawkins has really put in a lot of good work too, and both of the Street Profits. The profits are up, and they want the smoke, and you can tell from what they've been doing over the past couple of months.
Hell yeah. It shows in both in-ring and out of the ring. I don't know if you follow them on their social medias as well, but god damn, these boys are hungry. I mean hungry. So
yeah, they're working.
Okay. This is probably, and I cannot believe I'm about to put this in my second to lowest moment of the night. Becky and Bayley. This, for me, Nick, I am so disappointed, because I will talk about Becky in the greatest light I can ever do. I will never, until now, say anything negative about Becky, but this by far was the worst promo I have ever seen between Bayley and Becky and any of the women associated with the Four Horsewomen. This was horrendous.
It was a clunky back and forth. I will say that we did get some good lines out of it, like Bayley telling Becky that the only reason she's the man is because somebody punched her in the face and broke her nose, and Becky saying, well, maybe I should punch you in your face and make you a star. I mean, I like that. That's pretty good. Too. And the setup for the cage match is really what they were trying to get to. So they made it to where they were trying to get to, but the way that they got there left a little bit to be desired. You expect more from the both of them because of who they are and because of what they've done. But yeah, I can see how there are some folks who weren't really big fans of how that segment ended up, but they got where they needed to, and I'm looking forward to that cage match.
Nick, does Becky struggle as a face?
No, I don't think so, because the man as a face was over and did really well up to this point. I think being big time Bex kind of spoiled us a little bit, because we loved what she did as big time Bex, and the wardrobe and the attitude and everything that she did leading into that. So I think it takes some getting used to for some folks to see her getting back to her face ways, but I don't think she struggles as a face. I just think that there are times where we may expect a little bit more from her and expect a little bit different from her, and we don't get what we're looking for.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed with the entire thing, but at the end of the day, we got to where we're getting to. Raw 30 Monday in Philly, one of the most hostile crowds in pro wrestling, and we got Becky and Bayley in a cage match. This is going to show what these women are made of, because at the end of the day, Philly's going to let you know if you're dropping the ball. So
yeah. And these ladies who are not, they're used to being in cage matches. They're not foreign to it. Both of them have been in cage matches. They've both been in Hell in a Cell. This is not new to either one of them, so it should be a really good matchup inside of a cage at Raw 30.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, Omos versus Elias. Now, Nick, before I let you take this over, because I still don't know what's going on with Omos. I still don't know. He's a big boy, I get it, but I just want to talk Elias for a second. Yeah. Before Elias left and we ended up getting Ezekiel, Elias was one of the most over gimmicks we have seen in recent memory. I remember when he dropped a line, I think they were in Seattle, and he dropped a line about having a basketball team in Seattle, and it literally made you feel like the crowd's reaction made you feel like they were about to riot. I felt like they went from Seattle to Chicago real quick, right? And now they're booking him just to put people over, because every match Elias has been in virtually since he got back, he has done the job. What is the path for Elias to get back to where he was?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just going to take a feeling out process because he was gone for so long as Elias. It's going to take a while to kind of ingratiate him back in, kind of bring him back into where he can get into that groove again. And it may take a while. It may take him going heel again, because I think that Elias as a heel was some of his best work. From NXT into the main roster. That's where he really shined. You know, WWE stands for Walk with Elias, and that still got over even though he was a heel when he first started doing that. So I think it might take a little bit of a change. It may take a little bit of a redirect for him, but I feel like he still has it in him to where he can be that guy again. And I think he will be that guy again. I think it just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from on it. But back to the match. Good match. I think it was just going through the paces just to get Omos over, because Omos had a lot of screen time today. Omos had I think it's the most we've seen Omos in a very long time, which I'm okay with because we're obviously going to get a 4-man faction with the Hurt Business coming through, which we clearly saw at the end of tonight. But man, they still gave Elias a little bit of fight, which was nice.
Yeah, they still made him look a little bit good, and that's a good thing, especially going into the Royal Rumble. You don't want to look as though you have no kind of shot. It's supposed to be every man for himself. Everybody has about as good a chance as anybody else in order to succeed in this 30-man over the top battle royal. And Elias made him look good in this match against Omos. But of course, Omos, it makes sense for him to go over in this one. It makes sense for him to get the win. And I'll say this, they're trying everything they possibly can to push Omos, to get him in front of eyes and to make him look like that world beater and to make him look like the guy. I think that the losses that he took to Bobby Lashley last year, it's Bobby Lashley, so you can understand it. But when you are a guy who was basically just destroying everybody in their path, and then you run into Bobby Lashley and you end up losing, it kind of set him back a little bit. I don't know if it set him back or it kind of cooled him down a little bit. I'll say that. And it's taken a while for them to try to find a good place where he actually fits and to give him a good push. And I think possibly putting him in with guys like Cedric and Shelton and possibly Bobby could be a good look for him. But we'll see how this progresses as well as we continue to go forward, because like you said, Omos got a lot of screen time tonight, and it kind of pushed towards this or that being a thing. So we'll see how it develops over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Judgment Day versus the Alpha Academy. Again, another group that got a lot of screen time tonight with the Judgment Day. And here's the one thing I want to say. A lot of WWE fans and pro wrestling fans that have been following Judgment Day since their inception with Edge, and they dropped Edge and they became this faction of 4 with Dom and Mommy and Finn and knockoff Razor. No, I'm just joking. Damian Priest. No. So listen, is Judgment Day finally getting the respect that they deserve, considering who is in this group and who has been working so hard? We've talked a little bit about Dom, but we got to look at the other 3 members in this faction as well. Like, we've got literally one of the most world-renowned pro wrestlers on the planet right now in Finn Balor.
Yeah.
We got Rhea Ripley, who's virtually next to Bianca, the strongest woman on the roster, and could easily put herself into the Raw Women's Championship She could put herself in the IC title thing right now. Like, she could.
They wanted to.
If she wanted to. And we got Priest is just a monster. He's actually very big. Like, I met him at Clash, and he's gigantic, and he's great in the ring. This faction deserves some respect at this point.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're finally getting some of that shine because they're allowing them to really show some character. And it's not just that, we're Judgment Day, we're dark, we're scary, fear us, fear us, fear us. Now they're showing a little bit of character. They're letting some of the color show in these guys. Finn Balor is one of the more colorful characters in all of professional wrestling. The guy can talk. He's great in the ring. He's got a fantastic physique. He looks like $1 million and can wrestle a paper bag to a time limit draw. Mm-hmm. He's just really good at what he does, and they're letting that show. I love the stuff between him and Edge, the I Quit match, all of that stuff. That's really shown us a lot of what Finn Balor can do. Damian Priest, we remember him from NXT. Now he's in WWE, been there for a while, and he's really starting to show a lot of that character too, and show a different side of himself. And now in Dom, he's been with his dad this whole time, and they're allowing him to kind of grow as well. But one thing that I'll say about Dom and this whole thing with him going to jail and being in lockup for 24 hours, I love the line from Kevin Patrick saying there were Instagram stories that lasted longer than him in jail. I think that's gold. It's absolute gold, but don't let mommy hear you say that. You don't want that smoke, KP. What I'll say is this. I love the fact that they're willing to take a joke, or they're willing to let a joke ride.
Yeah.
They don't take themselves too seriously. And that's the thing. I think at the beginning with the Judgment Day, that may have been the thing that kind of that was the one thing that was kind of holding them from moving forward and really being where they are right now, is taking themselves too seriously. And now, or the company taking them, just making them a little too much of a serious faction when you have these colorful characters that are inside of what they do, but they're letting some of that light and some of that character show. And it's really benefiting them right now with the storyline, with Dom, with the whole jail thing, with mommy, don't let them take me, and all this stuff. It's all just been really funny, but it's also helped to kind of soften the image and ingratiate them a little bit, and really let people dig into what they're doing. And with Alpha Academy, the match tonight, I think it was a great match. I think that, again, they're letting Otis and Chad Gable show a little bit more of, their character and their color. They're letting Otis do the caterpillar again, which he hasn't done, I don't think, since he's been in Alpha Academy. And now they're letting him do it like all the time. And the fans are really getting into it. And I think it's really cool. I've always loved Chad Gable and what he was able to do. So what they did tonight in that tag team match, I think, was great for all parties involved. It helped elevate everybody who was in that match. And again, now you got Judgment Day vying for the Raw Tag Team Championships, and it's just going to continue to grow. Yeah. So I love what they were able to do with the little bit of time that they had on the screen tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick, I don't want to be disrespectful to these two women, but we have way more to talk about. I think the one thing that came out of the Io Sky and Mi Chin match is that we are going to finally see a competitor or competitors for the women's tag titles. I think that's what we're going to get at Rumble, with Candice LeRae and Mi Chin tagging up against Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Is there anything you want to add to this match? Because, like I said, we've got 3 more things that we need to cover, which is going to take a while, but nothing. I didn't want to disrespect them in a way, but this match was what it was. It kind of reminded me of the match on the Tegan Nox and Xia Li match the other night, but at least there was something to this match on Monday Night Raw.
A solid match. Love Mi Chin. I'm glad that she's getting the chance to actually show what she can do on Monday Night Raw. Same with Io. Same with Candice LeRae. Just all of these ladies, and Dakota as well. All of these ladies getting the opportunity to show what they can do and get some screen time, I think, is extremely beneficial. And I loved the match. I thought it was really solid.
Yeah, exactly. Same with me. There just wasn't much more for it, considering what we had right after this.
Yeah.
And we knew top of the hour there was only one thing to book for the 10 o'clock spot, and that was Bianca, Lexi, and a potential appearance by Uncle Howdy. And oh God, did they not disappoint. The one thing I will say, and I did say something in my live stream that I am going to completely backtrack on, the Becky Bailey promo could have learned something from this Bianca Alexa promo, because you guys know my feelings on Bianca. She's not the strongest on the mic, but tonight she showed an incredible amount of improvement. And I really enjoyed Bianca's promo tonight. And I enjoyed Lexi's counter tonight. It was just, we all know Alexa is the smaller, and virtually in real context, Bianca could absolutely ruin her. But Alexa's character development and her way and her facial expressions to tell a story, and the character that she is providing us right now, going up against a bigger opponent in the women's champion, is incredible. This whole promo before the fight gave me goosebumps, and I just want more of it.
I think they're setting it up really well. I love the progression that they've done with Alexa's character. Me and you are going to differ in opinion on Bianca Belair and her skills on the mic. I think that she's wonderful with what she does on the microphone. I think she's just different. She doesn't talk like every other woman on the roster. She doesn't talk like any other woman in professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. She is who she is. And I applaud her for that, because she's not going to compromise. She's not going to change who she is. She's not going to try to dumb what she does down or water it down in order to appeal to more of a mass audience. She is who she is, and that's what makes her, the EST. Yep. To me, I've said it before. There's a bunch of my buddies on socials that have said it as well, and we all agree. Hollywood is knocking on her door. She's like Sasha Banks was. When it came knocking on her door for her. Mercedes Moné, or for whatever she was doing. It came knocking on her door, and she opened it up and was welcome to it. And I think that Bianca is the same way, because she is who she is, and she's not going to compromise. And I love what she was able to do tonight. I think tonight, I will agree that tonight was one of her stronger moments as far as promos are concerned that she's had. And I love the back and forth between her and Alexa. And I think that's part of the reason why Bianca was as good as she was, because Alexa knows how to pull this kind of stuff out of people. We've seen it. She has the track record. When she's competing against somebody else, you got to meet her on the microphone. And I think that's what happened tonight. And it does give me it gives me a chill. I'm so ready for the Royal Rumble. I'm so ready for the match between the two of them. I think it's just going to be an absolute classic. And I look forward to that a great deal.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, because you made a point there saying Hollywood is knocking on Bianca's door. And I truly believe that there are only two women in the WWE right now, excluding Becky, because we know Becky had a potential stint in Marvel. But there are only two other women in WWE right now that could potentially make that crossover work, and is Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. And really, we're seeing true character development from both of them in this feud. And then you add in the factor that is Uncle Howdy. And this gave me, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this gave me the Toronto Dexter Loomis segment, where Dexter came out in the crowd and dragged Miz away down the alleyway. This was the same thing for me. And I love that they're using the whole arena now. This is not Vince's, PG era. This is Hunter's new attempt at the Attitude Era. Remember, we had the backstage segments. We had people getting jumped. We had car wrecks. We had all these little things happening. And Uncle Howdy appearing in a tunnel in the crowd. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. And it was perfectly done.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I love what they're doing, Uncle Howdy, and the stuff with Bray, and that's just it's just so cool, man. And it does harken back to another time in wrestling. But I will say this: you must not have seen Charlotte Flair in Psych the movie. You got to go back and watch it. Go ahead and get Peacock, check it out. She wasn't all that great, but she did. She was in it. So let's throw Charlotte in there too, because she's been in a movie.
Was she better than CM Punk in the horror movie?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, she was that bad. Okay.
She barely had lines, but she did do the figure eight on a guy. So on Corbin Bernstein, I think. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right. Nick, I want you to run with this one because you're an NXT guy. Like, you watch a little bit more NXT than I ever did. And Bronson, don't call me Jonah Reed versus Akira Tozawa. Now, on paper, you look at this and you're like, this is going to be 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And Tozawa's just going to be a typical squash and he's going to do the job. But Nick, tell me about this match, because this match for me shocked me.
It was, Bronson Reed has always had a way of making his opponent still look good while still looking strong.
Mm-hmm.
And this was no different tonight. Akira Tozawa, he got his shots in. He looked well. But you saw the agility in Bronson Reed and some of the moves that he was able to do with Akira Tozawa, or allow Akira Tozawa to do to him.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw the agility in a man of that size. If you go back and look at some of the work that he did in Japan, if you go back and look at some of the stuff that he did in NXT, it's no surprise to some of the people who know what Bronson Reed is able to do or can do in that ring. He's solid, man. He's got all the tools. And Steve, I implore you, go back and watch some of his stuff, man. Go look at some of his stuff in NXT. The man is a former NXT North American champion for a reason, because he's super talented and he can work. He can go, man. So just go back and look at some of that stuff, and you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you see.
I have to. First off, I've always had a soft spot for the Aussie competitors. I think Buddy Murphy is one of the most underutilized professional wrestlers of the current day. But Bronson Reed tonight, opened my eyes to how a big man can move. And somebody in the chat said, Bronson Reed is a perfect mix to Bam Bam Bigelow and Umaga. And I was like, yo, he's the size of Bam Bam, but he moves like Umaga, and he proved it tonight. And even though he's wrestling a smaller competitor, I want to see Bronson Reed against everybody now. Like, I am over on Bronson Reed right now after tonight, so I need to go back and watch his NXT stuff.
Bronson Reed is one of those guys who, he's a big guy, but he would have competed in the X division in Impact if he was there, if that makes sense.
That makes absolute sense. 100%. All right. And our final segment of the night, I'm going to skip Seth's promo, because Seth's promo just every week is just something just to put a 10 out of 10, move on, have the crowd sing, and let's go. Because Seth's promo tonight was fire. Simple as that. There's nothing Seth Rollins can do wrong right now.
So great.
Just keep that knee healthy, and there's nothing Seth Rollins can do wrong right now.
Yes,
this 6-pack match for the number one contender to Austin Theory's United States Championship at Raw 30 in Philly. It had 5 ex-world champions in this match, Nick. And Baron Corbin. And none of them disappointed in this match at all.
No, nobody. Not even Corbin. I like Corbin. I actually like Corbin.
I can't stand Corbin.
I love Corbin.
Have you ever heard my analogy on or my context on 2 different types of heat? There's heel heat, and then there's go away heat.
Yeah.
Corbin has go away heat.
And I've already told you my story about me and Baron Corbin and why he's bald.
Yeah.
So you understand how I feel. But I actually like Corbin, man. I think the addition of JBL, I think, has only helped him So I actually kind of like Baron Corbin.
I think that's the only reason Corbin was in this match tonight is because of JBL.
Quite possibly, or they just needed another body. I don't know.
See, I would have put Solo in this match, to be honest, but I digress.
I don't know. I don't know if Solo's there just yet, because that's, the U.S. Championship is basically the World Championship on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's the main title on Raw right now, and I don't know if he's in that scene just yet. Dolph Ziggler has kind of earned it. He's a former world champion himself. So, I mean, even though he's been gone for a while, I think putting him in there's reason for it. The Miz, there's reason for it.
Yeah.
Of course, Seth, Bobby, there's reason for it. I think that there's a reason for all these guys being in there, including Corbin. And I think it all worked well. I think it was a great match.
Great match. Great spots in this match. This was all just a draw to build I believe a triple threat going into Mania. That's where I think this all leads, is a triple threat at Mania. But the final segment, we also got Omos again. Yeah. So they're building the Hurt Business in this 6-way. And then you also saw some cohesion between Seth and Theory, because that whole sequence of the curb stomp on the table, I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
But they set it up very well, and the storytelling across the board for so many boxes to be filled and checked in this was great. Like I'm so excited for Royal Rumble at this point. Like, it's just, I don't know.
It's gonna be so good. I mean, it's just, you have all of these combustible elements in the same ring. A lot of these guys are all going to be in the Rumble together. So it will. I think that they played it out really well. Seth again looked really strong, and even though he did not win the match, I think that this plays well for him going into the Rumble.
Yep.
Because it's going to make him as one of the guys who, you look at and say he's a possibility to win the Rumble, along with Cody, as he announced that he was going to be in the Rumble. That's where his return was going to be. We'll probably see him at Raw 30, just show up and, talk about being in the Rumble and, play that part up. But it's all, I think that it sets Seth up really nicely for a good run in the Rumble, and it sets up this match between Theory and Bobby. And of course, you're wondering, will the Hurt Business be in attendance? Will we see a return of the Hurt Business at Raw 30? So it set up a lot of different storylines that we could possibly see in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed I don't get to watch Raw 30 with everybody. I'm gonna be stuck in Detroit, and I'll probably watch it in a lounge bar somewhere. I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, you're right. Raw 30 is gonna be incredible. Nick, overall, if we were to rate Monday Night Raw out of 10 tonight, where are we going with this?
I'd give it a good 7.5.
Yeah, that's where I was floundering. I was around a 7.5, 8. So I thought there were some spots missed, but overall, another very well created Monday Night Raw by Triple H and the production team.
Absolutely, I think it was a solid show all around. Of course, there's always room for improvement and everything, but I'm not melting. I'm going to give it 17 stars. 7.5, I think is fair for what we saw tonight, and I think it's a good setup for what we're going to see next week and going into the Rumble.
Fair enough. Nick, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you, my friend. Nick, where can people find you?
At Mr. Professor 318 on all social media platforms. Make sure you go check it out. We got a new set of t-shirts that we just put out, some merch. If you go to my socials and click on the link in my bio, go to my link tree, you'll see it, the first link that pops up, and make sure you get your hands on them because they are going fast.
Beautiful. And guys, you guys can just find me at straightshoot.locals.com. We're pushing that left, right, and center as hard as possible. If you've not followed us on straightshoot.locals.com, go give us a follow. It is free to follow. But if you'd like to see some interviews like our Chris Van Vliet interview that we posted up 2 weeks ago, you guys just had to do a small little subscription fee. It's a monthly fee that may come out, or you can do a one-year payment. And we are going to be interviewing some pro wrestlers, pro wrestling content creators. We have some people from Progress Wrestling in the UK coming up. Shout out to one of our local TikTokers who has just landed a fantastic new position with Progress, Miss Lana Banana. So congratulations to her. We look forward to seeing her on Progress Wrestling. It's one step to WWE. Guys, my name is Mr. Tesh Steve from Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. This is the Mr. Professor, Nick Harrison. Thank you so much for the Raw review. I will see you next week.